welcome to my channel and Alexanderplatz. But first, two things. These mass shootings, I am just finding out about them. I really am. I don't watch TV, as a lot of you don't either, but I really don't watch TV. I've got a big screen on rabbit ears. I'm not going to digress about it. Suffice it to say, I have a friend, Joe, booktuber, who lives in El Paso. I was taking in that, and now I'm supposed to do a readathon about a book that is 70 years old, about racism in America, and it's still going on. Secondly, I want to publicly apologize to my buddy Dennis at Intellectual Reads for being so remiss about my postings regarding this book. Now I can hear Dennis already going, there's no need for, because we're in communication on email and that, and he's a little bit ahead of me, but not much. In fact, I'm going to be stopping at chapter 5. Yeah, I've read beyond that, maybe up to 6 and beyond that, but I want to stop at chapter 5. I am loving this book. I have a lot to say about it, but I'm going to do another video on this in a few days. And see, I know Dennis will too, because I can tell he's itching to talk about this book, but he's holding back for some reason in his videos. He's probably, waiting for me. I started this shit. But, much to say about it, and I don't want to reintegrate what I've already said. I've asked Britta Böhler. Hi Britta, hope you're watching. I know you're busy, as well as Madelyn at MadeWithBooks. Both I think have the originals, or have read this in the original, and and another man I've talked to, unfortunately he's not a YouTube creator, and I can't email him directly or anything, but we did chat briefly in my other video. He's reading the Eugene Holas translation, and Michael Hoffman talks about that translation in here in the back. He doesn't diss it at all. He talks good about it, but it admits that it gets a lot of bad criticism. If he has a fault for the English reader, Yolas, it is that everything gets a little monotonous and strenuous. It's like an exotic mussel or a fog or a pudding in a museum. So yeah, I asked, specifically Britta and Madelyn if they had time, because admittedly, Dennis and I'll speak for myself, and from now on I'm going to act like I'm talking directly to Dennis, so I hope everyone doesn't mind. But I'm very interested now, and always have been a little, but especially now in Berlin, especially Hamburg. I'm a big Beatles fan, and Star Club. So Berlin Alexanderplatz. Alexanderplatz is like a train stop that includes many other stops and lines. The novel is very accessible. This translation, very. I'm not going constantly to secondary sources at all. What I'm doing is going back and rereading passages and getting very caught up in them. Dude says it best. I found myself reading Berlin Alexanderplatz in a way that you could hardly call reading, more like devouring, gobbling, gulping down. And these expressions still don't do justice to that way of reading, which dangerously often wasn't reading at all, but more life, suffering, despair, and fear. I can pronounce this. Bildungsroman, which is a literary genre. They call it this the German Ulysses, and rightly so. So much to say. I need to show you, Dennis. You'll love it. Yeah. Dennis does not like to write in his books, unlike some people. I'm going to get out of here in less than 10 minutes. On page 133, the conversation with Job. It's up to you, Job. You don't want to. And I think I'm going to read the rape scene, perhaps talk a little about that. First, why don't you finish your thought, Alan? And a Bildungsroman, it's a genre that focuses on the protagonist or character's growth from experience, from youth to, or from prison to. Interesting thing about this novel, for me, reading this novel, coming at it, totally blind, Dennis too, but we're getting it, very much so. Might find most interesting is the way the point of view switches within definitely a paragraph, sometimes within a sentence, from first person narrator to first person omnipotent narrator to like a third she, he, to this novel. Such anticipation, such the appetite gets, it's a whetting of the appetite. It's real fear. I found myself experiencing moments of real deja vu.
Real deja vu.
Reading this. Real deja vu. Writing this. Real terror, nighttime terror, where I have to open the door and I'll tell you where. There's a Cockney accent that I'm trying to pinpoint when he does it, because he does it with Franz BBK. He does it with Otto. He does it with Ludders. All this he does it with Lena. Top of the day. Good morning, isn't it? Isn't it? Well, that's a blimey bloody. Well, good thing to say. And a second ago, they were talking German, I thought. I think it's when they drink. This date continues to appear. 9 February 1928. Note to self, Google that shit. Here's a good one. Page 131, toward the bottom. This is in the middle of the 4 to 5 to 6 pages of Slaughterhouse of Pigs, which not my favorite episode or scene, and I'm wondering why he's doing that. He stops there, he comes back to it. I'm thinking it's foreboding or premonitions of Nazi stuff that's going to happen. Now we keep getting that the hammer's going to fall on Franz BBK. He's not done. You know what's going to happen? I can picture it. A beam of it, thick as my arm, black, lovely, jubilant blood. Then the whole merry crowd will leave the house. The guests will go dancing out. A tumbler. And no more lovely meadows, warm shed, fragrant hay, gone, all gone, a void, an empty hole, darkness. Here comes a new picture of the world. Well, hey, a gentleman has come on the scene who has bought the house, a new road, improved economy, and he is having it torn down. They bring the big basin, press it against him. The mighty animal kicks its legs up in the air. Okay, so it starts out, I can picture it, a beam of thick as his arm, first person, da-na-na. Then the whole merry crowd, and then here comes a new picture of the world. A gentleman has come on the scene. Who has, he, no, So yeah, what's about and all the details. Today's market numbers: 1,399 cattle, 2,700 calves, 4,654 sheep, 18,864 pigs. That pig slowed. The wind blows through the driveway. True feudalism is anti-Semitic. Franz is now dealing in national newspapers. Not that he's got anything against the Jews, but he is a supporter of order. Because there must be order in paradise. Anybody can see that. We'll throw in a little bit of paradise and Adam and Eve, and a little mythology here. So Hercules and Prometheus over there. Yes, although it is a great novel of Berlin and the doomed Weimar Republic. Trying to learn more about that. I've Googled it several times. It's one of the great books of the 20th century. Gruesome, farcical, and appalling, word drunk, pitch dark. And in Michael Hoffman's its new translation, Alfred Döblin's masterpiece lives in English for the first time. Okay, everyone, back. When it rains, it pours. I'm having storage problems now on my phone. So let me read this so I can get this done at least. This is all the Job part on page 133. After Job had lost everything a man can possibly lose, not more, not less, he lay in a cabbage patch. Job, you're lying in the cabbage patch, just far enough away from the doghouse for the dog not to bite you. You hear him gnashing his teeth. The dog will bark if you take so much as a single step. If you turn around or make to get up, he will growl, rush at you, rattle his chain, jump up, drool, and snap at you. Job, there's your place, and there are the gardens and fields that once were yours. Job. Cross-reference these crusty eyes on 135. There's a lot of cross-referencing I'm noticing. Read here too while I'm talking, and I'll get back to what I started. But God, read here. We'll get back to. This is like an aside from the omnipotent narrator POV. He'll just pop in there. But here is the voice mixed in with it, the biblical reference and story. Job, you have lost everything. You are allowed to shelter in the barn at night. Everyone is afraid of your contagion. You once rode in splendor over your estates, and people used to flock around you. Now you've got the wooden fence in front of you, and you can watch the snails creep up it. You can make a study of the earthworms. Those are the only creatures that aren't afraid of you. Who's asking? I'm just a voice. A voice comes out of the throat. You mean I must be a human being? Yes, and therefore I don't want to see you. Go away. I'm just a voice. Job, open your eyes as far as you can, and then you'll see me. Now, notice how these are like normal dialogue, right? It's not all chopped together, everyone talking at once. For example, now, of course, I won't be able to find it. There's 100 of them. All the stuff I do here, that's what I'm doing. These are all different pieces of dialogue. He reached round her throat. She let him. After a while, when he didn't let go and wasn't pressing, she realized he was stroking her and looked up in astonishment. Now get along with you, Franz. Her. He pulled her gently in the direction of the parlor. She resisted, but went with him step by step. Okay, narrator. Franz, is this going to start again? Now this is Franz, Whatever is the matter, I just want to sit in your parlor. And that's how it always is, you know. Well, can I have a cup of coffee, Mina? I just want a cup of coffee. I do not know what in the world is going on with my phone. I'm going to the Cricket store tomorrow and take